Hey, we're back with yet another Like-Minded, now proudly sponsored by E&D Waterworks. If water runs to it or through it, we do it. Unless it's your bladder, then you're on your own. But hey, here's what's happening. The state of Wisconsin owes $4.7 million to local law enforcement agencies around the state that provided security during the budget protests earlier this year. That includes $55,000 owed to the Janesville Police Department and over $30,000 that's owed to Beloit. A police spokesman said that if the bills were not paid by next month, the local officers would repossess the Capitol and place it in the impound lot. Well, according to the Janesville Gazette, we don't know where Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi or his family are, but we do know where their fleas are, in Algeria. Boy, you know things are tough when even your bodily parasites abandon you. Maybe they were ticked off enough to leave.
So long, sucker!
Anyway, I guess that would be a bloodsucker. By the way, now that Gaddafi is finally out of power, can we agree on how his name is spelled? It used to be this, then this, then this, and now it's this. You know, if we just can't figure out the English spelling translation thing, maybe he could just use this. Because after all, Prince appears to be done with it. And while we're at it, when and why did Peking become Beijing? And does that mean when I go to a Chinese restaurant now, I have to order Beijing duck? And does that mean that the class of prehistoric humans found in China is now Beijing man? And worse, does that mean that Pekin, Illinois, without the G, is now Beijing, Illinois, without the G? And, you know, on a side note, Pekin, Illinois is the marigold capital of the world, and until 1980, their team name at the high school was known as the Chinks. And no, I'm not making that up. And you thought Milton Redman was questionable. Boy, that was a long paragraph. You know, I'd better refresh myself with some crisp, clean, bottled drinking water from E&D Waterworks. Ask for Dan Drozdowitz, who's a tall drink of water himself. Ah, that's good. Hey, the 2012 election is heating up, and if Tommy Thompson does decide to run for Herb Kohl's U.S. Senate seat, he'll have some competition for that Republican nomination. This week, Newman declared that he is a candidate.
Hello, Newman.
When an evil wind will blow through your little play world and wipe that smug smile off your face. And I'll be there in all my glory, watching as it all comes crumbling down.
Wait, I think that's the wrong Newman. Well, I don't think that's the guy either, though he certainly looks qualified for government work. Oh yeah, that's the guy. Former Congressman Mark Newman. You know, he was, and I'm not making this up either, he was my math teacher at Milton High School in the 1970s. And he actually gave me detention once. Don't think I'll forget that when I get to the voting booth, pal. And here are this week's Sound Off Comments of the Week, actual anonymous calls printed on the op-ed page of the Janesville Gazette. And yes, we are doing two this week because we can afford to now that we have E&D Waterworks as a sponsor. On hanging laundry, seriously, you're going to complain about someone hanging their laundry out to dry? Get a life. Maybe you can do their laundry in your dryer. On dogs in city, we need to re-examine our policy in this city toward dogs because it is an extremely unfriendly place for dogs to live.
It's a poodle. Fed it on delicate.
This is gonna be cool. Washing the dog, washing the dog, washing the dog, washing the dog.
Well, that's all for Like-Minded this week. Proudly sponsored by E&D Waterworks. See you next time. Cheers. E&D Water, that's the name you just... No, that one's used. Bye. by the next month, I stumbled there, so I really shouldn't just go on. I should really redo it. We've got a sponsor now, so I've got to do it right. Wow. Now the pressure's on. Somebody's paying for this. Unlike the audience who've been paying for it all along. Okay. We do need to come up with a jingle. They don't have one, do they? We have to be crystal clear like the water at E&D Waterworks. You've just challenged me. But how am I going to find something that rhymes with Drozdowitz? 3 pages. Battle of Wits. Other people give you fits. The Pekin Chinks. They must have had some very creative cheers at the time. Their laundry in your dryer. I almost said drawer. What would their cheers have been? I mean, seriously.
Hey, butthead.
Okay, so those are my 2 challenges for the week. A jingle for E&D Waterworks and come up with some cheers for the Chinks. Oh! That's not going to be in the outtakes, Tony.